All right. So here we're going live on YouTube. And good morning, everybody, to Saturday Morning Live. I'd like to ask our friend Iris to pray us in, please.
Good morning, Lynn. And you're so right. The time is flowing by so quickly. I just also looked at the calendar and good morning, all, and I'll pray us in. I am here only to be truly helpful. I am here to represent Him who sent me. I do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because He who sent me will direct me. I am content to be wherever He wishes, knowing He goes there with me. I will be healed as I let Him teach me to heal. Amen.
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 Good morning, everybody. And so let's see. I'm not sure exactly where we ended up last week, but I'll bet Iris does.
Yeah, we stopped in paragraph 7. However, I wanted to request if we could go back to the place where it says in paragraph 5, whenever there is fear, it is because you have not made up your mind. And the reason is that I've been looking at this paragraph the whole week, and it's helped me with fear a lot. So I would appreciate if we could look at it once again, that paragraph that says, whenever there is fear.
Okay, can you see it on the screen?
Yes, it's
Okay.
paragraph
Do you,
5.
do you want to read it, the whole paragraph?
Yes,
Okay.
I will read it. So I will read paragraph 5, and I'll go through 2 paragraphs, paragraph 5 and paragraph 6, because I was looking at that this week. So okay, I'll just start with paragraph 5. Fear is always a sign of strain, arising whenever what you want conflicts with what you do. This situation arises in 2 ways. First, you can choose to do conflicting things, either simultaneously or successively. This produces conflicted behavior, which is intolerable to you, because the part of your mind that wants to do something else is outraged. Second, you can behave as you think you should, but without entirely wanting to do so. This produces consistent behavior, but entails great strain. In both cases, the mind and the behavior are out of accord, resulting in a situation in which you are doing what you do not wholly want to do. This arouses a sense of coercion that usually produces rage, and projection is likely to follow. Whenever there is fear, it is because you have not made up your mind. Your mind is therefore split, and your behavior inevitably becomes erratic. Correcting at the behavioral level can shift the error from the first to the second, but will not obliterate the fear. It is possible to reach a state in which you bring your mind under my guidance without conscious effort. But this implies a willingness that you have not developed as yet. The Holy Spirit cannot ask more than you are willing to do. The strength to do comes from your undivided decision. There is no strain in doing God's will. As soon as you recognize that this is also your own. The lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. I will therefore repeat it, urging you to listen. Only your mind can produce fear. It does so whenever it is conflicted in what it wants, producing inevitable strain, because wanting and doing are discordant. This can be corrected only by accepting a unified goal. Amen. And I read this paragraph over and over again this week, and I was just like focusing on I think I'm going to just stay with this paragraph for a few more days because I really love it. And the part where it really is very helpful is where it says that your mind, whenever there is fear, it's because you have not made up your mind. And the mind is therefore split. And your behavior inevitably becomes erratic. It's referring to me. And the strength to do comes from your undivided decision. And in fact, the whole thing is very, very helpful. And it's very helpful, and I'm not even sure like what to say in words, but or what to express. And I'm not even sure completely that I understand it on a human level, but somehow like it's really helped me, this paragraph. And because like somehow I understand it on a soul level, but maybe not on a human level. But it's like this idea that only your mind can produce fear. And like and it's true, like here it says that fear is always a sign of strain arising whenever what you want conflicts with what you do. And it applies to small things too, like a task that's been given is fearful, quote, like a task that's been given is neutral. But my response to it is unnatural. It's not natural. It's like my response to it is fear, because I'm perceiving the task to be too great, whatever task it is. And like, and it's the mind that produces the fear, because it doesn't look at it as neutral somehow. And like, and it wants something else. And what it wants is different than the task that is given it to do. What it wants is maybe some sort of a thought like, I don't want to do this task. It's too big. And it can apply to anything, including awakening, including washing a sink full of dishes. Like it applies to everything. Our whole life is our teaching. And like And the fear arises from, like, where it says what you want conflicts with what you do. And then later it says, whenever there is fear, you have not made up your mind. So there's two things, like the mind is completely split, and so there's fear. Like there could be a thought that this task of washing the dishes, or this task of awakening, or any task that's been given is too great. And I don't know how it can be done. And like the strength to do comes from your undivided decision. Like, what do you want? What do I want? What do I want? And it has to be a one mind. And therefore, like, the mind has to be used in that way, which is like a direction of the will. Like, it has to be a one pointed mind, not split. And undivided attention. And there is no strain in doing God's will as soon as you recognize that it is your own. So whatever task has been given us to do, including washing a sink full of dirty dishes, or awakening, or any task that is in front of us, there is no strain in doing God's will as soon as you recognize that it is your own will. And the lesson here is quite simple, but particularly apt to be overlooked. And only your mind produces fear. And yeah, and those were like my basic ideas about it, like my basic like thoughts that were going on in my mind. But I love this paragraph. I'm going to stay with it for a few more days, and I'll hand back to Lynn.
Wow, thank you so much, Iris. And I love how you just really broke it down and looked at, how it is that the mind is making up these stories. The mind is making up these ideas, and it's deciding what do I think about this? What is my opinion about this? I don't like to wash dishes. Well, you know, you might not like to wash dishes in if you're thinking about washing dishes, but once you're washing the dishes, there's great joy and satisfaction that comes to me from washing the dishes, feeling the dishes, all the things that go with it. But if I'm in the living room watching a show that I like and I think I want to get up and go wash the dishes, I'm like, no, I don't. That's not something I want to do because it takes me out of the moment. But anything we're doing in the moment is going to be what we focus on. And I love this. Thank you for pointing these paragraphs out, because the whole idea here is only the mind can produce fear, and that we go into conflict because we think that there's something that's happening that is not my will, not what I want. So, uh, and whatever it is, if because I'm not afraid of washing the dishes, but sometimes I am if I'm doing something else and I don't want to do that, you know, so um, so it's all in the mind, every bit of it. And the only way that we can come to any sort of correction here is by accepting a unified goal. And as you kept saying, being of one mind, the undivided will is that I am consistent, I'm honest. What I think is what I do. My thoughts and my deeds are not out of compliance or consistency with each other. Uh, this is what brings us peace, is this realizing that all things are equal. All things are equal. And Dove says, first he says there's no life outside of heaven, which is true. And then he says, I have a library of fictitious characters to make my life better. Better than what? It's all made up. So thank you, Iris. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say about these paragraphs? All right, because I think he's going to tell us how to do it. All right. And this is a process. Now here Jesus is giving us a process, step by step, of how to do this. And who would like to read paragraph 7?
If nobody else doesn't want, I'll take it.
Okay, thank you, Dove.
All right. Paragraph 7 of the separation and the atonement. Fear and conflict, section 6. Okay. The first corrective step in undoing the error is to know first that the conflict is an expression of fear. So basically, as long as I believe the world is real, I'm in a prison called fear, in which I must defend myself in order to protect myself so that I can be safe. And you know what that means. If I defend myself, I'm attacking myself because I'm believing I'm something that I'm not. That's why you got to laugh, you know? You take anything in this world seriously, you're still in prison. The only way to get out of prison is to take things with gentle laughter. And well, sooner or later, there's no bars on the window anymore. Say to yourself that you must somehow have chosen not to love. So basically, what I am is love. And I must have denied what I am. That's the last unanswered question. I have denied the truth. And now that you've denied the truth, you got to live in the hell that you made for yourself. That's what the ego says. You know, I got you. You know, yeah, you're not going to serve your prison sentence. You know, could be 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, but, you know, I'm serving a lifetime sentence in solitary confinement. That's pretty much what it gets down to. Then the whole process of correction becomes nothing more than a series of pragmatic steps in the larger process of accepting the atonement as the remedy. So I'm going to use a word that Amy Torres used the other day. She says, you know, I got to deconstruct myself. What Ken Wapnick says, you know, this course is not about learning anything. You're not learning anything. This is a course in unlearning what you think you are, or deconstructing your image of me. It's me. Can't you see me? These steps may be summarized in this way. First, know that this is fear. Fear arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect love is the atonement. So the atonement says that the separation never happened. There's no me. There's no me and you and me, us and them, good and bad, right and wrong. None of that means anything, because the truth is we are one. Oneness created as one. It's not two. There's no two-ness in oneness. There's no two-ness. So our only responsibility, as he says in this world, is to accept the atonement for myself. Now, when you accept the atonement for yourself, you recognize that all the things of this world that appear to be problems disappear. You have no problems. It tells you that in lesson 80, unless you still want to believe in the boogeyman, magic, the ego, things that aren't real, aren't true. And if you really want the truth and nothing but the truth, you're gonna get it, because that's the only way to remember what I am. Is the truth is I am as God created me, perfect, whole, changeless, eternal. I was never born, I never died, and I am complete.
All right. Thank you so much, Dove. Yeah, there we go. So here's how to do it. And it just reminds me also of the Decision for God in chapter 5, section, is it 7? It's same process and the same reasoning, because it's a lack of love. In that section, he says, I'm feeling this way. First, know that I'm feeling this way because I've reacted with a lack of love to one of God's creations. So, lack of love is the first key to the problem. Uh, and you have to recognize that and admit that, and it's so easy to see. Lack of love to me is like uh, it's so evident when I'm doing it, because I feel it and I know it. And I'm rejecting things that I should be accepting. I'm turning away things that I should be holding close and loving. So, the lack of love is the key to all of these problems. And so it's fear. Fear comes from a lack of love. And the only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Perfect love is the atonement. What does that mean? It means that perfect love, the atonement, is the letting go, forgiveness of the world that I see, the letting go of what I think has happened. So that's all you have to do is really basically just stop having an opinion about it. It's not helpful to you or anybody else, and it makes you think that you have some sort of control over what's happening through your opinion. And all that does is make you afraid, because you don't. We're not in control of what's happening in this world. The only thing we're in control of is our own reaction, and reaction with love or without love. And, reacting with love to everything that comes to us, we are then rewarded with love. Love comes back to us. And we can forgive because we realize that there is nothing, nothing, nothing in this world, in this universe, in this life, in this body. There is nothing that is more important than the sons of God, the love of the sons of God. My political ideas, my social thoughts, my whatever it is I think that I'm thinking, all of those things are lack of love. I'm saying that there's something wrong with God's creation, and the only remedy is love. So, that's it. It's simple, but it's hard to say. I love this, corrupt politician. You don't love the things they do. You love the Christ that they are, that they're acting out in the world in a certain way in order to teach me the reality of what I am, what they are. I love this. Iris, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And also with like our own self, like we're looking at our own self. And like I noticed that like with the letting go of the feelings, like in the release technique. Yeah. Like in the letting go, quote, I notice that if I have something coming up, like a fear thought, I'll just name it as the fear thought. It could be anything like fear or a host of other things like anxiety or worry or anything like that. Like just I'll just put that all into the one box of fear. If like I just allow it, if I just notice it, and then if I just welcome it and I just allow that fear, somehow like I feel better. I don't know how that works. But like it's a bit like just to allow it or like just accept it and like just let it be there. Don't fight with it. Like I tell myself, don't fight with it. Just let it be there. Like if it's happening, let it be there. And then I notice like it's not me. It's not me. I am the atonement, capital A, or I am that. And then the fear just goes away by itself. I don't have to do anything. I just have to welcome it. I just have to be with it. And I think maybe it's the same as letting go of whatever that fear is and handing back to Lynn.
Wow, yes. Thank you so much, Iris. It's just such a simple thing, isn't it? So grateful for this course. I can't even believe I was so frantic for so many years about things, and here it was right here. Oh my goodness. All right. Anybody else have anything on paragraph 7 that they'd like to share? It's all pretty clear? Yeah, okay. Well, see y'all in the real world in 2 minutes when we give up everything. It could happen. So Bruce and I were just talking about it could happen. Okay, so let's see paragraph 8. Who would like to read paragraph 8, please? Anybody? All right, I will read. I'm having a feeling people are having a hard time finding the raise your hand thing. That's fine. So I'll read this. Okay. Paragraph 8, chapter 2, the separation and the atonement, section 6, fear and conflict. Paragraph 8. I have emphasized that a miracle or the expression of atonement is, and so he's made the miracle and expression of atonement equal here. That's what it means. I have emphasized that the miracle or the expression of atonement is always a sign of respect from the worthy to the worthy. The recognition of this worth is reestablished by the atonement. It is obvious then that when you are afraid, you have placed yourself in a position where you need atonement. You have done something loveless, having chosen without love. This is precisely the situation for which the atonement was offered. The need for the remedy inspired its establishment. As long as you recognize only the need for the remedy, you will remain fearful. However, as soon as you accept the remedy, you have abolished the fear. This is how true healing occurs. So, this is no small thing. This is how true healing occurs. All right, is by abolishing the fear, accepting the remedy that's being offered to us, accepting the remedy that belongs to us. And what's he talking about? From the worthy to the worthy. From the worthy to the worthy. Let's talk a minute about this idea of worthiness, because I could almost guarantee you completely that the only reason that you do not see yourself as the beloved holy child, son of God, is because you do not experience yourself as being worthy of being the holy child of God. We don't see our own worthiness. All right. So why is it that I don't see my own worthiness? Well, it's because I look around me and I see a lot of unworthiness. When all I look on is unworthiness, that's a projection of my own thinking out into the world that nothing is worthy of God's love. That includes me. I don't see myself as the worthy one either. So we have to shift our thinking from thinking that we're an individual person with our own whatever going on, shifting our thinking from that to recognizing that we are worthy and our brother is worthy. Whoever you look at, whenever, I look over here at this list of names and say, Dove, you are worthy. Iris, you are worthy. Lynn, you are worthy. Mickey, you are worthy. Vishnu, you are worthy. Regis, you are worthy. Devin, you are worthy. Ricky, you are worthy. Sharonda, you are worthy. Joni's note taker is not a person, but you are worthy too. So that if we recognize that who we're dealing with are worthy, the holy sons of God, then we're not going to make a mistake about what we're thinking either. And we recognize our own worthiness. And through and by our own worthiness, through a sign of respect for our brothers, we offer the miracle. We offer the atonement. And as we offer the atonement, we offer the miracle, we recognize our equality. We recognize that there is no one or nothing that is that can attack us, hurt us, cause us any trouble. Excuse me, because it's us, it's me. Excuse me for that coughing. So Um, so you have done something loveless. This is why we don't do it, because we have done something loveless, because we've chosen without love, because we have looked and not seen the worthiness of our brother. This is precisely the situation for which the atonement was offered. It was offered so that I could see my own worthiness and the worthiness of my brother, the worthiness that we have of being the Holy Son of God. Dove, please go ahead.
Okay. There's one other factor that blinds us to what has worth and what has no worth. I can remember that my brother's a son of God, and he's worthy just as I'm a son of God. But that's kind of a lie, because my mind has been conditioned to see things as worthy and unworthy. And there's a line in the Course which I found just recently. I put it up here in the chat. If you value something that is valueless, you will believe, with a big lie, that you can learn to make what is untrue true. So, a very famous lesson, which is my birthday lesson, lesson 133, I will not value what is valueless. What's valueless, what is valuable belongs to me. And until you learn the rules in which, you go through this world valuing things that are valueless, and one of the things that make it valueless is begins in time and ends in time. It has no value to you, the eternal Son of God. So if you think you can value something that is valueless, you're going to think that you can also make what is not real, and also see what's real and make it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. So that's one of the reasons why we misunderstand worthiness.
Thank you, Dove. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? Sharonda, yeah, please, and then Iris, go ahead.
Hey, good morning. Good to be with you. You know what, when Dove was reading this, my focus went to the confusion we have about love. And to go beyond fear, I have to have it seems to me I need another understanding of what love is, because in terms of humanity, we've been poorly taught and we've had all kinds of very painful, confusing experiences about love. And so somehow that ties in very much with going beyond fear, is coming to really understand and accept more and more of what the nature of divine love is. That God is love. God is, I was going to say a resource. That sounds diminishing God to something less than God could be. But to really know that we are one with God and there's nothing to fear because God is love and we are as well. Yeah, that's enough. I'm good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sharonda. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful thing to understand. Iris, please go ahead.
Thank you, Lynn. I was just thinking, like sometime this week, that like about like yes, it's true that everything is there's somewhere in the course, like I don't remember exactly where, but maybe it's there in a couple of times, couple of places, that it says something like there is nothing in this world is true. There is nothing in this world that is true. Something along those lines. Nothing at all. Nothing what this world believes is true. Something like this. Like, so this idea that I have to find God. Like, where is God? And all this type of stuff, like, is I know in my experience it produces strain, just like what it's written in the lesson, in the reading. Like, it does produce a lot of strain. It's very stressful to feel like that, like, where is God? I have to do something. I have to learn something. I have to do this lesson properly. I forgot to do my lesson. I have to do this thing. And like, the thing is that, like, if I sit very quietly and like God is what is the thought, where the thought comes from. And God is that which is aware of Iris, quote. And God is that which notices the fear. And everything that is happening is God. And God is in everywhere, like in the leaf. And God is in the breeze. And there's that lesson that says that I am surrounded by the love of God and I don't notice it. And I'm surrounded, there's that lesson that says that God is in the food that I eat, in the water that sustains me. And God is not absent. It is just I who have been absent. And God is everywhere. But I don't see this, like when I become unconscious in the day, when I see things through like the teaching of the thoughts, I don't see God, and I'll be wondering, where is God? But God is right here. And and I can just sit very quietly, and I can see that. And even if like there's the something like my brother does, I don't like, that is also God. And not necessarily in like, but actually, even yes, even in the action, even in the form, there is no place where God is not. And when I sit with that, I feel better. And but when I have this thought that I have to look for something that is really far away, then I feel stressed, like literal strain. And it's like that sentence that says that a sense of separation from God is the only lack I need correct. And I just had that. I have to see it more clearly, but I had that thought again this week, and I'll I'll hand back to Lynn.
Thank you, Iris. Yes. And I think it does say that several times in the course. Devin, please go ahead.
I'm coming. I'm getting there. Here I am. Yeah, I mean, I hear as far as this, and I think Iris was about to touch on that, but essentially, like, what is love? You know, it's very confusing because you're trying to. It's one of those things that go through layers of understanding, and of course, I say that with pretty much everything. But as you're trying to understand what love is, you're coming from this, you know, special love that's between two people and excluding everybody else and everything else. And I'm not going to go through all the layers, but you know, I hear when I in this verse talking about knowing who you are, talking about knowing yourself as the Son of God and things like that. It's like, you know, that doesn't come alone. That's not something that you just have to remind yourself and try and force yourself to remember that everybody is the Son of God, and so am I, and you're like forcing it, trying to, you know, evoke it in your mind, and that's good. It's a practice. It's something that you want to do, but eventually you won't have to practice, and eventually you'll see not just everybody as the Son of God. It's about being the entirety of existence. The Son of God is not about being a point of perspective, a body talking to another body, saying, I'm the Son of God. Oh, I remember. Oh, but you don't. And all this separation deployment of the concept. There's the idea of what love is to me. How I describe this, how I understand what this is phrasing as, is the recognition that no matter what, I am in this relationship with God and the totality of all existence. And yeah, I'm in a point of perspective often, looking from my person, but what is occurring is the manifestation of my own belief systems because God wants to be in a relationship with me. And so I see only myself, and I look about and only myself, and there's all my thoughts everywhere, and there's nothing that's not worthy of what it is. It is what the Son of God is. There's everything. And therefore, even if you are engaged in the activity or disengaged from the activity, or whatever it might be that you think is loving or not loving, if you do not recognize that essentially it is the totality of the Son of God with the totality of God, and nothing else exists, then you can't know what love is. You can't understand what love is. That's all that love is. There's nothing else. And so everything else is just, oh, I'm trying to divide it up and make it into something else. Or, what's blue loving yellow? It's as opposed to, it is just white light. It's not a rainbow even. It's not divided by resistances. It's white light. It's only white light. Thank you.
Thank you, Devin. And yeah, that's it. And that, that doesn't sound very interesting. So I'm not sure I want that. Uh, that's a resistance. That's how the ego gets you. It's like, oh my gosh. The whole idea that somehow or the other, I would prefer one thing or the other in this crazy world where nothing is worth my time. But it is all God. It's nothing is worth my time taking me away from my connection to God. And that's what, what the fearful thing is, or the bad thing is. We think that we can separate ourselves from God. It can be something separate. And it's not possible. Give it up. Uh, Anybody else have anything on paragraph 8? Now, we're miracle workers, for gosh sakes, we need to be out there um, holding the light for the world, becoming the true healers. So let's see, who would like to read paragraph 9? Is it 9 we're on now? Yeah. I'd like to read paragraph 9. It just seems like a big number.
I can read it
Oh, great. Thank you, Devin.
since I broke the bubble of popping. I tell you, I'm reading now, okay? Everyone experiences fear, yet it would take very little right thinking to realize why fear occurs. Few appreciate the real power of the mind, and no one remains fully aware of it all the time. However, if you hope to spare yourself from fear, there are some things you must realize and realize fully. The mind is very powerful and never loses its creative force. It never sleeps. Atreyu, you're not getting anything from me if I'm reading? Okay. And you're talking over me. Please stop. Thank you. It never sleeps. Every instant it is creating. It is hard to recognize that thought and belief combine into a power surge that can literally move mountains. Thought and belief combine into a power surge that can literally move mountains. It appears at first glance that to believe such power about yourself is arrogant, but that is not the real reason you do not believe it. You prefer to believe that your thoughts cannot exert real influence because you are actually afraid of them. This may allay awareness of the guilt, but at the cost of perceiving the mind is as impotent. If you believe, he went out the door, yes, go out the door. Yeah. If you believe that what you think is in, no, please, I'm reading here, is ineffectual, you may cease to be afraid of it, but you are hardly likely to respect it. there are no idle thoughts. All thinking produces form. It produces form at some level. So this is so beautiful and so powerful that really gets into. I mean, I've been writing, finalizing my undefinable and expansive statutes, and it's just beautiful to, really hear it. I there's this aspect of it that we've literally made civilizations and fallen in love with them and destroyed them, simply by the thoughts that we have. And yes, we are terrified of them, and we don't want to do that again. We want to love our situations, and we want to love our creations and experience them. And yes, our thoughts, it is by our thoughts and beliefs that we also made and essentially took our own power away because of our fear of using it, even though it never stops. It never stops. So even as you have thoughts of it, or even the thoughts of that fear in some form present, it literally shapes our reality. So you're usurping the power, your own power, taking it away from yourself, so that you don't have an issue with it. And we're all sitting here trying to become miracle workers while trying to avoid being miracle workers. We don't really want to be miracle workers. We want to be loving miracle workers. And so it's a little difficult because we keep thinking that there's a difference between love and fear. And we think there's a difference between life and death. And so we're terrified. We're terrified of being miracle workers because we're afraid that we're going to accidentally kill our families. We're going to accidentally kill ourselves. We're going to accidentally destroy nations. And just because we are tolerant of mind wandering, and we get upset about political things all the time. And so if we really gave ourselves the power to move mountains again, why would we not pick one up and drop it on their heads? Accidentally, oops, I gotta start over again, right? Just saying. Thank you.
I don't think we're going to be doing that, but thank you, Devin. Yes, yes, yes. The power of the mind, it's inconceivable to the ego, the power of the mind. But the fact that he says that there are no idle thoughts and all thinking produces form at some level. That's the thinking of the ego mind that's producing form everywhere. I mean, that's it. It's not like we make up things. We make those mountains up and then we move them. It's true, we do. And we have moved mountains. Mountains have moved, moved, and moved and moved. Look at the history of the geological history of the world. You'll see all these things that are happening by the power of our mind. This world we see, the history of the universe from the Big Bang, the tiny mad idea, that's all something we made up. The power of our mind is vast and has a tremendous versatility. There's as co-creators with God, we have a tremendous creative power. This world we see is an abomination compared to the creative power of the Holy Son of God. This world we see with all its insanity and belief in separation, that is not proper usage of the mind. But we're already using the mind. And all we have to do is return our thinking to the place where we began. Return our mind to God. This is pretty wild. I mean, he's saying the mind is very powerful and never loses its creative force. It never sleeps. Every instant is creating. It is hard to recognize that thought and belief combined into a power surge that can literally move mountains. We're literally moving everything right now. We're literally making the entire clockwork of the universe operate. We're doing it right now. It's not something, by observance of it, by our watching it, by our paying attention to it, it's becoming a reality to us. It's not really real. It just becomes real to us in our mind because we have given it the power through loving it and seeing it as an extension of our own thinking. And there's someplace in here that he tells us, God loves his creations. We love our creations. He doesn't expect us not to love our creations. Ricky has her hand up. Please go ahead, my dear.
Thank you. What it brings to me is just the beauty of watching little kids play. They get out there and they build up the sand, and then they get their dozers and they smash it up. And there's so much intent and love and joy and beauty in their faces. And I think that's what it's about for me. It's about experiencing. It's not about for me trying to figure out is the angle of the dangle and did I do it right? It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with allowing myself just to be the little kid that plays. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ricky. And that really, I mean, we are the little kid that plays. That's what we're here for, is to enjoy our life, to be the joyful, loving children of God. Regis, please, I think you had your hand up. What happened to you?
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, just one little quick thought that while we were as you was going back through it, the middle of this paragraph, is one thing I think that we do about the mind is we were just talking about this in the last 24 hours, uh, is that we sometimes slip into the idea that what I'm thinking don't really matter. We just kind of going along like, oh, it's just in my head. Because I'm not saying it out loud with my mouth, that we can just let our mind go. you know, it's just kind of like, uh, and we kind of have sort of a subconscious, almost conscious thought that, oh, it's just stuff in my head. It doesn't really matter. I'm not hurting anything or hurting anybody. And so we almost convince ourselves that the power of the mind is not what it is, that it is not having any effect because I'm not saying it out loud or I'm not acting on it. And I think that's just something that we have to remember, uh, that very powerful creative power of the mind is not hinging on whether or not I say it out loud or whether or not I even take action. I can just be sitting around in my lazy boy at the house, just letting my mind go all kind of places and do all kind of things and thinking, oh, I'm just daydreaming. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Regis. Yeah, that it actually is abracadabra. I'm doing that all the time, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Uh, Anybody else have any thoughts about this? We're just about to the bottom of the hour. So what I'm going to do, we just finished this section, and we're going to start next week with cause and effect. And what I'm going to do is stop the share, and hoping that Devin is going to be ready to do a meditation for us.
Yes, in just a moment. So you stopped the recording to YouTube? Is that what you said?
No, I didn't stop the YouTube. I stopped the sharing of the book, and now I'm putting up the
Oh, gotcha.
music.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll be ready.
Yeah, I'll just put on the music, and whenever you're ready. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get the music on.
Allowing yourself to completely relax. Surrendering all that you know. All that you believe. With every breath, allowing yourself to get deeper. Surrendering. Letting yourself go deeper into the relaxation, into the emptiness. Surrendering your mind. Surrendering the thoughts. Surrendering your beliefs. Your ideas. Coming wholly empty-handed to this moment. Coming pure to this instant. Recognizing that you here in this moment. Recognizing that you have a sensation of seeing this moment. Recognize there's evidence of feeling in this moment. You recognize the ideas which concur that you are moving or sitting still. Which attempt to explain non-reality that you are a person. That you are in a world. I surrender these things. I surrender these thoughts. I surrender my perceptions. I surrender their associations. I surrender my identifications. I surrender. For I choose to be in this moment. I choose to be in this instant. For I know you are here with me, Father. I know that you are what I experience. I have distorted your love into objects, into people. I have distorted your love into bodies, into sensations. I choose to retract these decisions, Father. For I choose to know you. I want to know you. I want to recognize this moment as it actually is. I want to recognize you here in all that I hear. I want to recognize you here in all that I see. I want to recognize you here in all that I feel. I want to recognize you here, Father, in all that I think, in all that I believe. I choose to recognize you. I surrender all that I thought I knew. I surrender all that I thought I was. I surrender all that I hope I can be. So that I may know you. So that I may recognize you. So that I may unite with you again in my awareness, experiencing all that we are together. I let it all go. I let it all drift away. I let it all go. I let it all drift away, drift away, drift away. I love you, Father. I love you, God. I am love with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.